evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. President Kolinda Grabar-Kitarović received an intelligence report today from Croatia's top intelligence official on the private emails that precipitated the resignation of Deputy Prime Minister Martina Dalić after they were made public. The emails could have an impact on the Agrokor settlement. The president says she is very concerned and plans to meet with the Prime Minister about the issue on Monday.
The fact is that the settlement must be reached and implemented. This whole process could complicate that, and I don't want that to happen. Unfortunately, the group of people who worked on drafting this law failed to take seriously the extreme importance of this national issue. The way they communicated cast a serious shadow on this entire process. There must be an investigation. The authenticity of the emails must also be looked into, and this is being done by state institutions. Of course, no political or public pressure should be applied on state prosecutors, USKOK, and everyone else involved in the investigation. We have to see the facts. Of course, all of us are politically responsible for the work that we do.
Opposition MPs Nikola Grmoja of Most and Krešo Beljak of the Peasants' Party were critical of the president's response to the revelations about the former minister's alleged conflict of interest.
She has not spoken about this issue before. She has been known to criticize the government over measures aimed to boost the population, the implementation of reforms, and so on. I think she should have spoke up earlier. We shall see if this will have any impact on shedding more light on this matter. I think the president is campaigning very hard for her re-election. I also think that what she's saying is nonsense. Give back the money? If there are contracts, then this money was legitimately earned. Whether it was immoral is another issue, and I do believe our justice authorities, the state prosecutor's office, the anti-corruption department, need to look into this. What the president is doing is just muddying the waters.
The Conflict of Interest Commission has decided not to investigate complaints about the president's 2016 trip to the United States, concluding that it could not be determined whether there was a conflict of interest based on the documents provided by the president's office. On the other hand, the commission unanimously backed a conflict of interest investigation against Martina Dalić.
Her lack of transparency in choosing the informal group that worked on drafting the law on the Special Administration for Agrokor, her refusal to answer questions about the members of the group, and because the members stood to benefit from the legislation. All that indicates she was in a conflict of interest under the law.
The SDP's motion to dissolve Parliament has been put on the Sabor's agenda. However, the ruling majority voted down two pieces of legislation, both related to Agrokor and the Dalić emails. Opposition lawmakers left the chamber in protest.
I am very sorry that you did not accept all of the arguments presented, and that on the very day that Croatia is taking over the presidency of the Council of Europe, naming the fight against corruption as one of the priorities of its presidency, you have opened the door to corruption in one of the most important segments of Croatia's economy.
The government's crisis manager for Agrokor, Fabris Peruško, said today that the first draft of a settlement with creditors would be published next week. Speaking at a conference in Opatija, Peruško said that the settlement was likely to be reached by the temporary creditors' council, since there was not enough time to form a permanent council. Finance Minister Zdravko Marić said he was aware of the potential impact a failure could have, and that the focus had to be on what was in the best interest of the country.
What I have supported from the start with respect to the settlement and the debt crisis is looking out for the general interest of Croatia, protecting the economy, our taxpayers. That's the only interest I care about, and that applies to the final settlement as well.
Croatia is presiding over the Council of Europe for the first time since it joined the organization 22 years ago. Croatia is taking the reins from Denmark at a time when the Council has sent Croatia a strong rebuke over the rise in racist and hate speech, intolerance, and nationalism.
With respect to our second priority, the protection of national minorities and other sensitive groups, we believe that this is an important issue that relates to human rights. It is also relevant for many countries, and we have decided that it is in our interest to work on this issue on the European level, but we will also continue working on it in Croatia.
Croatian authorities, as well as the parliament and the political parties, civil society at large, should read this report carefully and see what consequences one needs to take from this report. I know that one has strengthened legislation for protection against hate speech, and it's very important now to implement this legislation. That is one point which one, of course, could focus on now.
Prime Minister Andrej Plenković is in Bucharest attending an international defense industry fair where 9 Croatian companies are presenting their products. After meeting with his Romanian counterpart, the Prime Minister said the two countries would work together during their respective turns holding the EU's presidency in 2019 and 2020.
We have concluded jointly that we have not had this kind of high-level dialogue between our ministers in nearly 30 years.
We stress the importance of cooperation between our two countries on the political and diplomatic levels, as well as the willingness to improve economic cooperation.
In sports, Croatia's Mate Pavić is set to become the world's #1 on the ATP doubles rankings on Monday. Pavić and his partner, Oliver Marach, did not win their quarterfinal match in Rome, but neither did top seeds Marcelo Melo and Lukas Kubot. This was enough to shoot Pavić up from 5th place into 1st. Also in Rome, Marin Cilic is through to the semis after beating Pablo Carreño Busta.
Tomorrow's forecast calls for mostly sunny and warmer weather, but conditions will not be completely stable. There is the odd chance of local showers in the interior around midday, especially in the mountains. On the coast, a morning northeasterly will shift to a moderate west-northwesterly wind in the afternoon. There may also be some traces of a southwesterly along the shore. Morning lows will range from 7 to 12 in the interior and from 13 to 18 on the coast. The day's highs will be mostly between 23 and 27, slightly cooler in the mountains. Temperatures will get even warmer this weekend and at the beginning of next week, but conditions will still be unstable. There will be plenty of sunny spells, but they will be interrupted by passing showers. Those showers will be brief and light until Monday and longer and heavier in the new week. On the coast, it will be mostly sunny on Sunday with a high northeasterly wind in the north. Skies could be cloudy on Monday with a chance of rain late in the day. More rain is expected midweek, accompanied by a southeasterly wind.
And that brings us to the end of the news. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.